Hello, this is Coach Jordan with CHP here today to talk about the benefits of running. Maybe getting into a habit of running or jogging is something you have thought about doing but don't really know where to start. If that's the case, you are in the right place. Today we'll discuss how running benefits your body and how to get started. So for our objectives today, we're going to talk about the basics of running, so the benefits that running has on your body, proper form, proper gear, and the run-walk method. Then we'll talk about fueling, so what you should be eating before and after your run, and hydration. We'll talk about the importance of stretching and injury prevention, and how to stay motivated. So let's start with the basics. So one of the big benefits of running is that it can be done almost anywhere. All you need is a space to run, whether it be a park or a neighborhood, anywhere that you have a little room that you can get outside. It's relatively inexpensive. You just need a good pair of running shoes. It reduces your stress and anxiety and is great for your mental health and getting an adequate amount of vitamin D. It can be done on your own or with a friend, which is great. So it can be something that you do for yourself to get a little stress management, or it can be something fun that you do with a friend, a coworker, with your family to help you stay accountable and reach those goals. And then it has tons of overall health improvements. So efficient exercise to achieving aerobic fitness. Basically, that just means keeping your heart healthy and getting good cardiovascular exercise. You get better lung capacity, increased metabolism, increased energy, and decreased risk of osteoporosis by sticking with some kind of jogging or running routine. So one thing that you need to get started running is some really good running gear. So again, that inexpensive part of running, you just need some shoes. You may want to check with your local running stores to get fitted for the right shoe. They can give you really precise measurements of your feet and get you fitted in shoes that work just for you. You should change your running shoes about every 6 months, especially if you're running about 3 or more times a week for an hour or more at a time. You don't want your shoes to get worn down and then start giving you issues with your feet. When you try on shoes, you want to try them on at the end of the day when your feet are more swollen from walking around at work or doing different activities all day. And there should be at least a ½ inch space between your longest toe and the end of your shoe. Something you may want to also consider is getting yourself some fun gear and investing in some running gear like a watch. So whether it be an Apple Watch or a Fitbit or a Garmin, that can help motivate you to stick with your running plan. You can also use apps like Nike Run or Couch to 5K that can track your steps for you without a watch tracker. You would just need to have your phone on you while you're running. Also, some dry fit clothing, especially in this summer heat that we're about to have down here in the South. It can help keep you cooler in that heat. So you may want to invest in 2 or 3 shirts, dry fit shirts that you can wear, especially in the summertime. So this gives you an example of proper running form. So you want to make sure that your shoulders are dropped and relaxed throughout running, that you don't tense them up by your ears as you're running. Your arms should be at a 90-degree angle, moving back and forth as you run. Your hands slightly cupped. The more tense you put your body, so maybe even like balling up your hands into a fist as you run, the more energy you're losing as you're running. And for your posture, you want to keep yourself upright. You don't want to bend at the waist. That can make breathing a little more difficult, and you'll start feeling that little stitch in your side. So, we want to talk a little bit about preventing injury. You want to start your runs out at a slow pace and work into more intense or longer runs so that you are preventing any kind of injury that may come along. But here's just a few common injuries that we see with runners. First is shin splints. That's a pain that goes right along that shin bone. It almost feels like that muscle is being detached from the shin. Causes can include increasing your running frequency too soon, so maybe starting out a little bit too hard. It can also happen when you run on the concrete a lot. But some of the prevention things that you can do, you can start slow and do the run walk method. That's where you alternate your running and your walking for a certain amount of time, maybe 30 seconds running, 30 seconds walking as you're starting out your journey in starting running. Also want to do a lot of calf stretches, a lot of calf and shin stretches, really making sure that that muscle is loose around the bone and it's not pulling too much as you're running. And then you want to ice and rest afterwards. So after your run, you're going to want to put some ice on it, stretch it out, put some more ice on it, and give it some rest until your next run day. Plantar fasciitis is another issue that we see in runners. It's pain in the bottom of your foot. Most people describe it as having something stuck in between your heel and the ball of your big toe, feeling like maybe there's a rod or something there, pain in the bottom of the foot. So the main thing you want to make sure with this one is that you have good running shoes. That's usually the issue with plantar fasciitis, is that whatever shoe you're wearing isn't accounting for the makeup of your foot. So you want to make sure that you have shoes that really fit your foot well as you're running. A good treatment if you're having some pain in the bottom of the foot is to freeze a bottle of water, frozen solid, and you want to roll your foot over that bottle of water, kind of pressing into it as much as the pain will allow, just to try and stretch that fascia that's covering the muscle and causing the pain. You can also stretch your toes and the bottom of your feet, so pulling your toes back, curling them in, moving your ankle along with that flexion of your toes really helps to stretch out the foot. You can also get a baseball or a tennis ball and kind of roll it around the bottom of your foot, and that will help keep those muscles stretched out as well. Runner's knee is pain around the front of the knee or the kneecap. Some of the causes for that is weakness in the hips or the muscles around the knees. So your quad, your calf, and your hamstring, some weakness there, even going all the way up to weakness in those hip muscles. So prevention, you want to add in some strength training. Maybe on your off days of running, you do 15 to 20 minutes of strength training, whether that's with weight equipment or doing body weight activities, push-ups, sit-ups, lunges, hip stretches. Those are going to be critical in keeping that runner's knee under control and just strengthening those muscles around the knee. Also, stretching, that obviously really helps your runner's knee. Sometimes it's not that the muscles are weak, but it's that they're weak and they're not very flexible. So you want to strengthen those muscles, but you also want to stretch and elongate those muscles so it takes some of the pressure off of the joint. And then Achilles tendonitis, that is inflammation of the tendon that connects your calf to your heel, that big tendon that you feel on the very back of your ankle. Some of the causes for that could be increasing your mileage or your intensity of your running too quickly, or just getting started with a little bit too much on your plate. So something that you can do for that is reducing your activity, going back to that run-walk method, maybe splitting it up a little bit as you're working into higher mileage or higher intensity. But also stretching those calves out as well, really stretching the calves, really stretching the hamstring as well that connects to your calf. So you want to make sure especially the back of the leg is very stretched out when you're having that issue with your Achilles. And again, you also want to make sure you have the proper shoes. The shoes can also be a reason why that Achilles might be inflamed. So you want to make sure that the shoes that you're wearing are shoes that fit your foot well and aren't going to cause any of that discomfort or inflammation in the tendon. So now you're ready to start running. So here's how you want to do it. You want to start each run with a 5-minute walking warm-up. This is a fast-paced walk, getting your heart rate up, getting into a rhythm to get ready to start running. And then you're going to want to utilize that walk-run method. So again, first starting out, you might want to run 30 seconds, walk 30 seconds, jog 30 seconds, walk 30 seconds. And as you continue in the consistency of your running, you may want to up those values to a minute or a minute and a half. You want to have a plan of how you can increase your running and walking to get to the point that you want to be at with your running, whether you want to be able to run a full mile or a 5K, which is 3.1 miles. You want a plan to get you there. The Couch to 5K app is very helpful for that. It gives you a walk-run plan that you can do for 8 weeks, and in 8 weeks, by the end of it, you'll be able to run a 5K. You want to start with a comfortable running pace, a nice jog, something that gets you worked up from that walk into something a little bit more intense. Then after your run, you want to cool down with some easy jogging or walking, another 5 minutes to start bringing your heart rate down, to start relaxing your muscles a little bit. And then you're going to want to stretch, especially right after your exercise. Your muscle is like taffy, and this is the best time to really get good, deep stretches in. So after your run, give yourself at least 10 minutes to really stretch all of those muscle groups. And you want to aim for consistency. So you want to set up your timeline to be something that you're going to be able to be consistent with. So whether it's running twice a week or 3 times a week, maybe it's at the same time, whatever it is, you want to just make sure that you start out with some kind of consistency. So let's talk a little bit about hydration and nutrition. So what you want to eat before a run, about an hour before a run, you want something that has some good carbs in it. So you want to avoid dairy, high fat or greasy foods, high fibrous foods. You might want a handful of pretzels, maybe half of an energy bar or a small piece of fruit, just to give your body a little energy. About 3 or 4 hours before a run, you also want something with some good carbs. So fruit, nuts, pretzels, maybe a peanut butter sandwich or a smoothie are perfect pre-run snacks that you can eat. After a run, you want to replenish those muscles with fuel. Chocolate milk is one of the best things you can drink after a run. About 30 minutes after, just a glass of chocolate milk, maybe a sports drink like a Gatorade to replenish some of those electrolytes, especially if you're running in the heat. Or a muscle milk is a really great alternative as well. About 1 to 2 hours after a run, when your muscles are starting to absorb some of those nutrients again, maybe some trail mix, a yogurt parfait, string cheese or eggs, something high protein to replenish your muscles. So we definitely want to stay hydrated while we're running. So about 10 to 15 minutes before your run or your jog, you want to drink at least 8 to 12 ounces of water. And then right after, you want to rehydrate as soon as possible. So keep that water bottle with you so you can go ahead and start drinking right after your workout. If you're doing a jog or a run, you may want to have a Propel water or a Gatorade Zero so you can replenish some of those electrolytes. This is especially important in the summer when you're often sweating a lot more and you're going to need to replenish those electrolytes in your body. And a Gatorade Zero or a Propel, 0 sugar, 0 carbs to help get those electrolytes back in your system. So stretching is probably the most underrated exercise we can do, and we really should be stretching every day, but you definitely need to put extra emphasis on your stretching on those days that you're running. And this just gives you a little idea of some of the stretches that you could be doing. This is a full body stretch, maybe take you 5 to 10 minutes, starting with your arms and working down. So your arms and neck, your chest and shoulders, some arm rotations to start getting those stretching in the back. And then your inner thigh, hamstring, quadricep, your glute and your hamstring stretching, and then ending with your calf stretches. So again, just starting from your head and stretching every muscle group all the way down to the feet. This is just an easy stretch that you can do after your run, and honestly, you could probably do it every day before bed. Just a quick 5 to 10 minute stretch hitting all of those major muscle groups. When you're running, you may want to spend a little extra time on the back and leg portion of your stretches. So really getting into those back muscles, your hamstrings and calves and your quads. Again, just to keep those muscles loose and keep them from putting any extra pressure on your joints. And then staying motivated. So here are some great tips for staying motivated. You may want to run with a friend or join a running group. Maybe you and a friend or you and a coworker want to start running or jogging at lunch or after work as this weather starts getting a little bit better. Maybe you and your family want to train to be able to do a 5K and to be able to walk or jog that. It might be helpful to do that in a group to keep you motivated. Try to keep it regular and run at the same times at the same days. Sometimes our schedules don't allow for that kind of consistency, and that's okay. Maybe at least keeping it to the same days, running twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays starting out, but having some kind of consistency and a plan for keeping that consistency can be helpful. Find fun playlists or podcasts to keep you entertained. Make it fun while you're doing this. Set yourself a little fun reward after you've hit your milestone. So maybe your first milestone is to be able to run a full mile. Reward yourself with a little massage or with a new dry fit shirt for the summer coming up. And track your progress so you can see your successes. The apps help tremendously. The Fitbit and Garmin apps that sync to your watch, if you have one of those, are really great. You can do fun little challenges that really just make it more fun. It makes it enjoyable to be able to go out and see how much you have ran and what that can equate to. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me for the Benefits of Running Healthy Break. If you have any questions or if you'd like some additional resources, please feel free to contact me. If you're sticking around for the healthy credit question, here it is. What is one way to prevent or treat a common running injury? You can answer this question by texting or emailing your coach with the answer. And here are some additional references if you would like to see where we got our information or if you'd like to look into other ways you can start your running journey. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a great day.